Good evening, everyone. My name is Gala Flagello, and I'm the Festival Director and co-founder of Connecticut Summerfest.
And my name is Aaron Price. I'm the Artistic Director and also co-founder of Connecticut Summerfest.
We'd like to welcome you to an evening of uplifting music, interviews, and discussions to benefit our completely virtual 5th anniversary season. If you joined us a few minutes early, you were listening to music by past festival composers and ensembles in residence of Connecticut Summerfest.
As an overview of tonight's events, we're going to start with performances by Mike Avitabile of Hub New Music, followed by live interviews with some of the composers whose music you will have heard. After that, we have interviews from our past festival composers and ensembles, followed by a live discussion with Gal and I about Virtual Summerfest 2020 and the future. And I have to say, we're so excited that we have massively surpassed tonight's fundraising goal of $2,000. In fact, we are over 150% of our original goal. So thank you so much for all of your support. And our new donation goal for this evening is going to be $3,500 because that's about what we raised last year at our in-person gala. And we are so thrilled and above the moon that we're anywhere close to that in this virtual format. So thank you again.
And in order to reach that new $3,500 goal, we would also like to announce that Hub New Music has generously donated copies of their upcoming album, Soul House, as a sort of virtual silent auction item for this evening. So thank you so much to Hub. And if you'd like to support Connecticut Summerfest by purchasing one of these albums, either physical or downloadable, head over to our Fundraiser Gala website, which is here on screen.
And over the night, see now you can tell we're live. Over the course of tonight's events, a chat function is available next to this video if you'd like to share your thoughts and questions for us to respond to live. In order to do so, you will need to be logged in to YouTube. We invite you to use that YouTube chat throughout the event.
And up now is a program performed by flutist Mike Avitabile. We're delighted to have had Hub New Music as a Connecticut Summerfest 2019 ensemble in residence. Mike will be performing 4 solo flute pieces by past Connecticut Summerfest composition faculty, a past festival composer, and also myself. Thanks again for joining us this evening, and we'll see you after the concert. Now we'll turn it over to Mike.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. My name is Mike Avitabile, and I'm the founder and flutist of Hub New Music, and welcome to my home in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts. And I'm excited to be part of the Connecticut Summerfest annual fundraising gala virtually. Like many Americans in quarantine, I have taken to making artisanal sourdough bread to pass the time and also preserve my sanity. And this is by far the nicest thing I've worn since quarantine began. Tonight, I'm going to play for you 4 different works by Connecticut Summerfest alum and previous faculty composers. I'm especially excited because Gala Flagello wrote a piece for the program I'm about to play, who's a dear friend. And the other composers from the program are from 2019, when I was with Hub New Music, a resident ensemble at Connecticut Summerfest. So kick back, relax, enjoy some artisanal sourdough or a glass of wine, and I'm excited to play for you. Cheers. Tonight I'm going to start my program with Fake Smile by Connecticut Summerfest co-founder Gala Flagello. Gala has been such a great friend over the years. We text almost daily about anything ranging to future musical plans to our latest obsession with the show Schitt's Creek. And I've been working on this piece for a little while now, and I've had such a great time working on it, and I hope you enjoy it. Fake Smile by Gala Flagello. The next piece I'm going to play for you is called Sonata Flautissima by Miguel de Aguila. Miguel was a composer in residence in 2019 when Hub New Music was at Connecticut Summerfest. And this piece has echoes of Piazzolla in it. It features some really fun extended techniques in which I make percussive sounds on the flute like this. And it's been a lot of fun to play, and I hope you enjoy it. The next piece I'm going to play is by Nathan Scalise, who was actually a composer who wrote for my group, Hub New Music, back in 2019 at Connecticut Summerfest. Nathan is such a lovely person, lovely human being. We had an amazing time working with him and recording his music and performing it. We've kept in touch, and I actually just saw him when the group was touring in upstate New York, and it was really great to connect again. His piece, Only So Many Windows to Look Out of, is inspired by our current scenario of being quarantined during COVID-19 and having only so many windows of your house that you can look out of in a day. In this room, I have 3. This piece is fun and melodic and interspersed with these wild cadenzas where I'm flutter-tonguing and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's so fun, and I've had such a great time working on this piece, and I'm excited to share it with you. The last piece I'm going to play for you tonight is called Until a Name by Laura Kaminsky. Laura's piece is inspired by a poem by Elizabeth Bishop called Conversation, which I'd like to read for you just to give a little bit of context for the piece. Conversation. The tumult in the heart keeps asking questions, and then it stops and undertakes to answer in the same tone of voice. No one could tell the difference. Uninnocent, these conversations start and then engage the senses, only half meaning to. And then there is no choice, and then there is no sense. Until a name and all its connotation are the same. Like Miguel, Laura was also a faculty composer back in 2019, and this piece is really special to me because I've known Laura for many, many, many years before Hub New Music played at Connecticut Summerfest. We toured a piece of hers called The Full Range of Blue for many seasons and played it all over the place. And we're really excited about a new project we have in the works with Laura coming in the 21-22 concert season. So something for us to look forward to post-quarantine. Thanks again for joining me tonight, and this is Until a Name by Laura Kaminsky.
Summerfest is just such a beautiful composer, performer get together that's so meaningful. And I saw the work last summer and was really inspired. So I'm so thrilled that you're doing this in this new context, but it's not the same as being in Hartford, but it's still pretty nice to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this piece was part of a project. I was invited along with 13 other women composers to write short solo pieces for flute inspired by literature. And so I just started reading poetry for several months until I found something that stuck with me that I thought I could make a piece from it. And the poem was called Conversation by Elizabeth Bishop. And it was really the first line of the poem that touched me and made me feel I needed to express something musically with that particular line of text, although it's not the line that became the title. And in fact, in this period that we're living in now with the pandemic and all of the social upheaval that we're experiencing, this line, I'll just read it. The tumult in the heart keeps asking questions. And that resonated so profoundly for me that I knew I had to use it as the source for this piece. And the piece, as you saw, goes on a bit of a journey, and it gets a little bit dogmatic and repetitive and flashy and introspective. And it's kind of the tumult in the heart. But it's the last line of the poem that inspired the title. And the last line is, it says, and then there is no choice, and then there is no sense until a name and all its connotation are the same. So that was the piece I wanted to give to this project, and I was delighted that it came to fruition, and I'm delighted that Mike has taken it on now that his ensemble has played a piece of mine, which they performed at your festival last summer. And we're in the process of devising a new project for 21, 22. So we're continuing to work together. And of course, that's the beauty of chamber music and living composers and performers sharing their process together and making art. So there we have it.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for reading parts of that poem again. It was great to hear Mike read it before, but I think it's almost even more impactful having heard the piece and then reflecting back on the poetry that inspired it. It was just mentioned to us that unfortunately our Zoom went down for just a couple seconds, but we assure you, you didn't miss too much, just us saying hi to Laura. And we thank all of our viewers right now for bearing with us as we wade into this new technological territory. Laura, we'd love to ask you too, if you could talk a little bit about your experience at Connecticut Summerfest. You mentioned that you enjoyed being there, but if you could just, tell some of our viewers what it was like as a composition faculty member.
Well, I have to say I was only able to be there for a short period because of the way your schedule worked and my own schedule. And I flew from the West Coast, where I had just been in a production of one of my operas, and I flew cross country, and it was a really long day, and I got there with like 5 minutes to spare to hear the first concert, having no idea who any of you were, although I had met you, Gala, the year prior in Michigan. But I didn't really know anything about the festival, and I didn't know what to expect. And I showed up pretty jet lagged and hungry and grumpy, and was just totally taken in by the energy in the hall, the level of the performance, and what I could see when I could see in the audience, oh, those must be the student composers. I could see their focus and their open ears and eyes, like they were taking it all in, and they were so excited and so proud. And the experience of those few days was just that: passion and commitment and open ears and open mind and vulnerability and excitement. And we had a great time. It was fantastic.
Yeah, really glad to hear it. And actually, speaking of which, you had mentioned just a little bit earlier that you have an upcoming project with Hub. So I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we had such a good experience when they originally discovered my piece, The Full Range of Blue, and started touring with it. And I didn't know them. I mean, these fortuitous experiences when, you know, somebody wants to do your music and you go, great, and then you click and you really like the way they approach the music and the quality of the performance is high. And those things are not necessarily the same, right? You can have a really good performance, but it could not be your intention of what you're trying to say in the music. And this was really symbiotic and very positive. And then when I found out that they were faculty at your Summerfest last year, and I was being invited as a faculty, composition faculty, it was really exciting because I got to know them a little bit better and hear them play the piece again. And that led to a conversation. I think the second night, I actually had time to have dinner, and Mike and I went out to a Asian restaurant in town and started imagining a future project. And it's now begun to take real shape. It's a literature-based project, as is the piece I just wrote that he just played, which had nothing to do with Hub New Music. So there's a kind of a continuum there. And it seems that it's likely, and I guess he can correct me if I am premature in announcing it, but there's 4 composers involved in the project, and it looks like it will premiere at the Morgan Library and Museum in New York in 2022.
That's so exciting. Wow.
My hope is that I will either be responding to a particular exhibition, and they're because of the pandemic, exhibitions are being switched and scheduled, so we don't know. So if there isn't something that would then be the thing I would write my music to, I will have access to their library collection and will roam around in there with Hub New Music musicians and find something that we all feel speaks. And then I get to make music for them to play. So it's great.
That's so exciting. And Erin and I are also incredibly excited to hear that work and how that turns out as well. It's exciting that this partnership is continuing in that way.
Yeah, you know, music making is so much about community and trust. And so what you do at the festival is so important about mentoring emerging artists and giving them a safe place to say, I'm really stuck here, or I'm trying to change the way I deal with rhythm, or here's my new piece, and what do you think? That kind of exchange, that kind of guidance, that kind of nurturing is so critical and so beautiful. So bravo to you.
Well, thank you so much, Laura. And thank you again for taking the time to join us this evening.
Raise a lot more money so you can do this full force and hopefully in a real space where you're all next to each other.
Yes.
Keep
Yeah.
up the good work.
Thank you so much for joining us, Laura.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
And again, that was Laura Kaminsky, who was one of our 2019 composition faculty members. Next up, we would like to introduce you to one of our 2019 festival composers, Nathan Scalise. Hi, Nathan. Are you with us this evening?
Hi.
Nathan, so good to see you again. How are you?
Good to be here.
Thanks.
So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your experience at Connecticut Summerfest last year.
Yeah, Connecticut Summerfest was really great. I worked with Hub New Music. I wrote a piece for them that had a lot of some weird instructions in it. I told the cellist to do something that sounded like mild radio static. I made them all sing at the end of the piece. They were all totally down for it and made it sound really, really good. I had a great time working with them. I had a great experience at the festival in general. My composition lessons were all productive, which is not always the case with one-off lessons. They're kind of a weird, speed dating, but worse. It's a strange thing. But with Laura and with Miguel and Professor Kernis and Robert Carl, all of them I had really good lessons with.
Amazing. So glad to hear that. We also wanted to ask you a little bit about you starting your DMA at Heart next year, which is so exciting. And we wanted to say congratulations to you for going on to a really incredible doctoral program. Can you give us a little sneak preview maybe of some of your current compositional projects or some things you're looking to do in the future?
Yeah, and just to connect the dots there, Robert Carl, who teaches at Hart, it was, of course, I met him at Connecticut Summerfest, and that was actually I would say a large part of me ending up there is already having that relationship with him, as well as with Gilda Lyons from Wintergreen, another such program.
Yes, and just to interrupt really briefly, we're so excited to have Gilda on our 2020 composition faculty at Connecticut Summerfest. So the heart
2021.
connection, the heart connection continues.
Oh, I didn't know you had Gilda this year. She's composers who, if you're out there and watching this, she's great. One of just really great teacher to work with, very perceptive. Current projects. The pandemic has, of course, thrown everything into flux. I would have been headed to Idaho this summer to perform with a soprano I work with a lot out there, and we've sort of started a duo performing a bunch of music, mostly at this point that I've written, but also some that she's written eventually will make its way into that. And we were in Phoenix, like right before everything shut down, performing at another festival. I just finished a set with a mezzo soprano we called it Therapy Songs, and her name's Jenna Stewart. And the idea of this set was that it would all be different things about different aspects of mental health, largely drawn from her experiences in therapy that she wanted to be able to sing about. And so we've been in the process of figuring out how to make a remote recording of this. And that's the big current project. As I play things into the MIDI keyboard, okay, record this, mess with it in Ableton, send it to her, she sings, send it back, and so on.
Amazing. Yeah, thanks so much for giving us that little sneak preview, Nathan. And those sound like incredible projects. We just wanted to let you know you have a couple of fans in our audience tonight. Giovanna says, "Hey, Nathan." And we got a congrats from Dale, who was another one of our 2019 festival composers who's actually coming back for 2020. We're so excited. But just want to let you know your flute piece. I mean, obviously, Mike, an incredible flutist to work with, but we really enjoyed it, and we're so glad that we were able to hear it this evening.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed getting to hear it. It's so nice to go from, you're working with the playback and imagining what it will sound like with a real human to you have a real human and you have someone who's really good.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much again for joining us tonight, Nathan.
Yeah, glad to be a part of it.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
See y'all.
And we just wanted to mention, of course, as we had just mentioned Giovanna and Dale's comments, if you have any questions for the composers as well, please post them in the YouTube chat that's right next to this video. So moving right along, we are going to introduce composer and 2019 composition faculty member, Miguel del Aguila. Miguel.
Well, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Miguel. How are you this evening?
Fine. It's good seeing you guys.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying the gala so much.
We're so glad. Part of it is due to you. Thank you so much for submitting your flute piece. We're so glad we were able to program it.
I heard it for the first time.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the piece?
Sure. A lot of my music is played and I'm never there. They never, we composers live in another world. Congratulations, Michael. That was such a good performance. I wish you had played the whole thing, the whole piece. Which is 3 movements. And the part you heard is actually an introduction to the piece. And actually the first 2 little movements are an introduction to the last movement, which is the center of the piece. As you could tell, the first movement is very lyrical. It kind of sets the mood. And Michael did that so well. When you guys told me that you were going to do only 1 movement, I thought, oh gosh, the first movement, that doesn't stand by itself. It's just, it's like opening the door when you go visit somebody. You open the door, but then you don't let them in, right? And somehow Michael managed to squeeze some music out of it and make really a beautiful mood. So that's what great musicians do. Thank you. The second movement has beatboxing in it. You know, beatboxing's like hip hop music, which is something I think flutists are scared. I don't know, classical musicians are scared of beatboxing or anything that has to do with not blowing into your instrument the way you learned in school. So the text, if you call it, of the beatboxing is pretty complex if you look at the music. So you have to really memorize the text that you have to say, which probably implies a different part of your brain than playing the flute. So that's a challenge of the second movement, but it's fun. It's pure rhythm sung into the flute with also flute notes so as not to make it too boring for the performer. And then the challenge of the final movement is it's long, it's very rhythmic, it's probably the most Latin sounding one. And you don't have much chances to breathe, which I think for flutists is not an easy thing, but it's not my problem. You guys need so much air for your instrument, right? So it's a piece I wrote 2018 for flutist April Clayton, with whom I'm doing a CD soon of all my flute music. And actually, I just work on a piece for that CD that I just finished for flute and piano. And when she played it, I wasn't there. So I never heard it. It's only in my head. And now it's not. So I do hope you guys send me a recording of how Michael did it, because I can learn a few things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were so glad to be able to program at least part of it. And I mean, you're totally right, Mike, and especially all members of Hub New Music really have that ability to interpret and to just pull so much music out of what we see as dots on a page.
Yeah, and it's hard to perform from home. I look at my piano there. It would be so hard to perform from your home, because I don't know if you guys feel that when you're performing, it's all about opening up your heart, your soul, really, and sharing all this energy that bounces back from your audience. And it's when you're at home, nothing bounces back because the computer screen is different, right? But so it's a hard thing, and you guys are doing it very well so far. So as well as a festival.
Thank you. It's actually, it's kind of nice because it kind of gives that gala feeling of it being an amuse-bouche or an hors d'oeuvre that'll sort of lead into the rest of the piece a little bit later on. So we can sort of build up that interest for the rest of the meal, so to speak.
Well, I hope this gala raises the millions you guys deserve, and all the musicians involved with it. It goes to a good cause, and hope it does that.
Thank you so much, Miguel. We just wanted to let you know that one of our audience members, Oriana, says we'd love to hear all the movements together. So we definitely will have that in the works for a future concert or possibly gala. We're all excited to hear your sort of entire, conception of the piece. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much again for joining us tonight and for joining us at Connecticut Summerfest 2019.
Thank you. That was, I really enjoyed the festival. It was, do I have more time?
Yeah, we have a couple more minutes. Okay.
So actually, while we have you here, can you talk a little bit about your experience at our festival last year, working with the composers?
I really, it was last year. It feels like it was so long ago, doesn't it?
It does.
Or my years are just in a different dimension. First of all, it was great getting to that part of the country. I remember I flew, I think, from Chicago or from another place, and it was just beautiful. You guys are so well organized. I remember you talked to me about the invitation was over a year before there, so I had time to really plan everything. And unfortunately, I think, like Laura said, I didn't have enough time, enough days there. So I I had 2 full days, right? And you guys kept me working all day long.
Yes.
So I didn't have much time to interact with the musicians. I wish my music had been played because that would have been giving me the chance to personally interact with the guest performers.
Hmm.
But anyway, I was busy, with the young composers, and making new friends with new musicians was so good, and getting to know new composers and also old composers. And by the way, there are some composers like Tzu Chin who are in Asia. She was a fellow composer who will not be joining this because they are in another time zone in the middle of the night now.
Right.
But it was really a great place. Like Nathan said, that he compared the lessons to speed dating. Yeah. And for us, it's also difficult, when you have 1 hour and then there is a composer you never met before, right? And in 1 hour, I do feel not like speed dating. To me, it's like a psychiatrist session, right?
Yeah, I could
Because
see it being that way for sure.
maybe psychology, because I don't prescribe any drug.
You just prescribe musical advice, and that's the best advice you can give.
That's the best drug I can give. But in that hour, you need to, for me at least, it's more important to get to know psychologically the person, what makes them write music, what's really their voice. Because once you talk and what were their plans for the future, their career, how they see themselves, and that's a lot to do in 1 hour. So of course, like I'm always, that's usually me. That hour turns into 1 hour and a half, and by the second student, I'm running behind. And but it's really very inspiring, and it's very exciting for me to get to know all this music, and then to see it performed, and then I usually, to follow how their careers evolve after the Summerfest. So it was really a very exciting thing. My only regret is by the time I got to see, I think, only one concert or two concerts, but it was at the end of a long day. And then I was there only 2 days, and I think I missed a lot of things you guys worked so hard to organize. So you have to have me over again with my music being performed, and for me being there for all the concerts, so that I can just relax and get a drink during the day and spend more time. But anyway, it was, I think, even as it was hectic, the festival is very relaxed. You do have time to personally meet musicians and composers, and not on the run. There is time and to go to dinner, and I think that's important. Like I compare that with other festivals or with things like flute conventions, where there are 300 events at the same every hour, and everybody goes like crazy ping pong balls from one to the other to the other, and not much really. You don't make much of a connection. So it was a great experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're so glad to hear
Keep
that.
doing it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And thanks for joining us this evening. And we're so glad we were able to have you and talk to you.
So am I.
Amazing. Have a good rest of your
Have a
night,
good
Miguel.
evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
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 And we'd like to read a couple of audience comments and questions. I'll let you know where we are with our exciting on-screen thermometer. Julia Moore says, so glad you found a way to share the festival with us while we're quarantined. And we thank you so much for that. Erin and I and our entire festival staff are doing our best to make our 5th anniversary season still incredibly celebratory and impactful. So we'll be live streaming our events and still continuing our composition program this year. We'd also like to say thank you again to Miguel. He said, you're on your way to the millions. And Honestly, maybe we are. We are so thankful. We just got a donation from Kathy Osterholzer for $250. Thank you so much. Incredibly generous. We've also had Dale, who purchased a Hub album for $15. So if you're interested in that Hub album, please head over to our virtual silent auction and pick up either a physical or downloadable copy. We also had a $140 donation from Ed Lynch. Thank you so much, Ed. And we have to tell you the exciting goal that we've reached. We're at our goal. That's incredible.
Yes.
That's amazing. We have reached the amount that we raised last year at our in-person fundraiser gala, which we had no idea we could do. This is so incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, and you know what I think, Will, would you be able to increase the thermometer goal up to 4,000? Because the more that we can raise tonight, the more we can continue working towards our tuition-free initiative that we're hoping in 5 years to be able to reduce our tuition little by little until we can hit zero, so that every composer who's invited won't have any financial obstacles to be able to share their music with all of us, both in person in Hartford and through our live stream digitally. So thank you again to everybody who's donated and helped us make our goal. And let's just see if we can make this next goal. That would mean so much to us as our organization continues to grow and continues to do more and more services for composers.
Absolutely. And now, an exciting next segment. Let's hear from a few more of our past festival composers and ensemble members.
Do not fear. 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 Do not
Well, I loved how intimate that this festival was. I felt like I got to really know all the people here, and everyone just seemed very, very invested in each other, which was really cool. And it was very inspiring to really get to know all the composers, all the faculty, and all the ensembles really well. And then also I was really excited about the ensembles that were coming in. I was really excited to write for Quinn's ensemble to work more on my vocal writing.
Oh, 100%. I think a lot of our ideas of commissioning involve inclusion and in the sense of culture and personality and race and sex and gender. And the festival has all of that. You know, you have a good mixture of backgrounds and sexes here. So, and there's even scholarships for, women composers, which I think is rare still today, which is sad. So the fact that that's all here and the fact that we get to also work with the composers and understand their interpretation is even more important for down the road, because chamber music is one of those rare experiences where you can talk with the audience and explain things and share conversations about music. So Connecticut Summerfest has been an amazing experience and is definitely one of our best.
So I was looking for a way to kind of kickstart my writing again, and I saw the faculty and names that I knew, which sometimes is not the case with a lot of summer festivals. So I saw the faculty, I was like, whoa, this looks good. And then I saw the ensembles and I was like, whoa, this looks good. So I was like, there's no reason that I shouldn't apply to this festival.
If you are looking for an opportunity to meet others who are within the new music world, but not just that, at the top of their game in the new music world, then this is a very good opportunity to do that. And I would say, particularly as a composer, one of the most beneficial things that this festival brings is an opportunity to work not just with really great faculty, but to work with musicians who get it. That's a really challenging thing sometimes, to put new music in front of players who would either rather not be doing that or don't have the capability to do that. This is a rare treat, I think, to be with musicians who are happy to work with you, who will go away and try new things, who are happy to experiment. To me, if there was one selling point of this, it's that opportunity.
Thank you so much again, everybody, for your support. If you want to support us further, like aiding in our 5-year tuition-free initiative, we encourage you to encourage anyone else who enjoyed the concert to donate now and receive a concert of Hub New Music's album they've granted us for tonight's virtual silent auction, which is a wonderful bonus to support that you're showing us.
And now we'd like to introduce you to Connecticut Summerfest's Technical Operations Manager, Pete Williams. Pete will be relaying your questions and comments to us, so don't forget to type those in the chat box if you have any. Now we'd like to welcome Pete.
Hey guys, thanks so much. You know, it's a very different experience, like we heard from the composers that we had on and the faculty members, to be doing this event digitally. And I've really enjoyed my role as the MC of this event traditionally, right? Like I'm the person that is trying to explain and trying to get people as excited about it as everybody who's involved in the process and the organization, but from the outside in. So we have a couple of questions tonight. You know, there's a couple of questions that we definitely want to ask about with how the festival has adapted to this year's, obviously, the COVID pandemic and other things going on. So I guess let's start there. You know, what are some of the challenges that Summerfest faced this year during the COVID-19 pandemic, and what would you say, you know, you guys are doing to overcome them right now?
So probably the biggest hurdle is just being able to coordinate creating new music all on video conference rather than being in person, and especially with performers with latency between softwares, that can be very, very difficult. So we're really excited we came up with some really creative solutions to approach some of these rehearsals and recording sessions, some of which include having a conductor guide, a stopwatch, a click track, or even recording in different layers.
Yeah, and with all of that and all those different adjustments and options, it's really been a big help that we're collaborating with people that are enthusiastic about not only our mission and new music, but about helping us sort of navigate this new world. So we've had really enthusiastic and collaborative experiences with our 2020 Ensemble in Residence, the International Contemporary Ensemble, as well as all of our composition faculty who are just ready and rearing to go with all of these different adjustments we've had to make. Creative problem solving really feels like the name of the game this season. And in talking to, you know, our festival composers and on ICE and our comp faculty, it seems like we've really been able to make it work. Speaking of the festival composers, they are still going to get all of the things that they were expecting to get from an in-person festival, just from the safety of their own homes, which we're really, really happy to have been able to do. So that includes those recording sessions that Erin was talking about. We'll be doing web premieres rather than our traditional evening of premieres in an actual concert hall. So you'll get to hear from some of those composers as their pieces are being premiered online. So actually you're going to get to see even more of a window into new music than you normally would, which is pretty exciting, and that level of engagement is really interesting to us. And lastly, we're really excited to have been able to continue the sense of community that our festival is thankfully known for. I mean, Laura said it the best, really. She was like, everyone's coming together and really encouraged to experiment and to try new things. And that's always what we want to do. So we're still having a welcome dinner with all the composers. We're still having a bunch of sort of like coffee hour types of events and like workshops. So I think that'll be really great. And we're all really looking forward to it.
Yeah, totally. What's really exciting about that, and we're seeing that tonight, right, is that with the pushing the festival digital because we had to, but a benefit that we're seeing from that is that people from all over can attend this event and concerts that are coming up and from their own home. And so as a result, the festival is able to reach such a wider audience than what any of us imagined were possible, particularly in 2020. But going forward, I think, you know, the three of us were talking a little bit about that this morning, and that could be something that we need to lean into going forward, right? In tandem to the things that we're doing. I think it's a great way to expand the audience. So, and with that in mind, something that we particularly want to talk about tonight also is the summer concert series, right? So one of the best parts, not checking my bias at all about Summerfest, is that we have the free concert series, right? And obviously this year and for a good amount of the foreseeable future, in-person concerts are going to be difficult. So I know with much like the event that you saw tonight, we're going to be pivoting into digital events. And so what can you guys tell us about the changes that we're making to the summer concert series for this festival year?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, Aaron and I had a really great sort of heart to heart with our ensemble in residence, ICE. And we've decided that it's best to postpone our June concert series. But we didn't feel good about putting on a concert series during these extremely difficult and turbulent times.
And what's nice about this change is it'll allow our staff and ensemble members to participate in and support this ongoing movement against systemic inequality that we ourselves believe in.
Yeah, and our free live stream concert will still be happening. So don't worry, it'll just be a little later in the summer. Keep an eye out. We'll keep you updated on our Facebook page, our e-newsletter, and our website.
And we do look forward to continuing to highlight composers of color in our summer concert series and elevating the voices of underrepresented composers.
Yeah, I think, that now more than ever is such a great thing that is part of our mission that it already has been, and something that we know we need to continue to work harder at, is elevating those voices using our platform. We actually have a question from the audience. There's it's a little bit of a theoretical question as I read it. It's how do you anticipate integrating digital streaming into live music experiences as an organization? And so if we want to take some stabs at that, I think we could.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's key to know, maybe to anyone who is a more recent follower or fan of Connecticut Summerfest, that we've actually been live streaming all of our concerts since our very first year in 2016. So although a lot of people, I think, are just now sort of realizing that live stream concerts are available and an option, Aaron and I are this is our 5th year doing it. And every year, really, we feel we're getting better and better at it. How do we engage our audience? How do we have the highest quality sound that we can, so that you don't feel like you're missing anything from inside the concert hall? And also, to us, that's part of our accessibility mission. I mean, not only is it you can view this concert anywhere in the world, but also the fact that it's free. And I mean, obviously, you still need an internet connection, and that could be a challenge for some people. For sure. But it's really important to us that we are not only able to elevate voices of underrepresented composers and present really incredible music through our ensembles and residences concerts, but to also be able to show that anywhere in the world for free.
And I think one of the things that we can use adapting that's beneficial to the festival and to your experience as an audience is the chat function that we've been using tonight, right? You've been seeing us be able to integrate feedback that we get from the audience in semi-real time. So in a way, in these concerts, we're able to engage the musician with some of your questions in a more expedient and more public setting than we could normally at our in-person concert series.
Yeah, and I think that's evident tonight, because people are really enjoying what we're putting out there. We've got a great engaged audience tonight, and that includes the fact that we just received another donation that I want to make the two of you aware of. We just received a $500 donation from Diane Flagello, putting us so far over the top of any goal that we could have possibly imagined that this event would reach, and we're so appreciative.
That's amazing. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think actually it's a great time to segue into another point that we want to talk about tonight, which is that Connecticut Summerfest as an organization, has a tuition cost component to it. The composers that you see that participate in the event do pay to be a part of something that will both benefit them and everyone that they work with. I've always described it as a group hug, and somewhere we have to be able to fund those efforts and fund the quality of the festival that people have come to expect. And in April, the organization announced that we would be trying to work on a 5-year plan to eliminate that. So can the two of you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is my and Aaron's, I think, biggest sort of excitement. We've been really, really energized with this initiative. We are just embarking on it, and we've decided on 5 years to get to 0 composition program tuition, because we feel that that's doable. And in order to do that, as we fundraise to make sure each year our tuition can keep steadily decreasing, not eliminating all at once, but doing it in as sustainable way as possible. At the same time, we'll be looking to start an endowment, which is sort of the next level as a nonprofit organization when you reach about year 5, which is where we are right now, is to start really looking at that long-term vision and what your North Star is. And for Aaron and I think that really is accessibility. That really is the idea that we want to be not only an entertainment platform, but an educational platform. And in order to do that, we want to make sure that all composers' voices, no matter what their socioeconomic status might be, can participate if their music is of such high quality that our adjudicators are accepting them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That the adjudication process for the festival, right, is a blind application process. We're trying to create equal opportunity, but that we still recognize the fact that even with equal opportunity, not everyone can participate once they clear that part of the process. So that it is a noble cause, and I think it's one of the, me looking from the more of the outside end of the operations, right, I think it's one of the best things that we can do to utilize our platform in order to elevate the people that we care the most about, right, and that we want to see succeed the most. So, changing gears a little bit, going back to sort of the changes that we've made this year in service of Festival Year 2020, our 5th anniversary season. How have the needs of the festival changed? Obviously, we're still trying to create the same product, right? Like this event is a great example of that, and the concert series is still going to happen in a different format. But with that, the way that Mike played and produced his work tonight, how have the needs of the festival like that? How has that changed? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say that not only have our needs as a festival and an organization changed due to COVID-19 and the really turbulent times that we're in right now, but also the needs of our festival composers, our composition students who are coming to the festival. Something we're really proud to have been able to do this year is to immediately reduce festival composer tuition from what it had initially been advertised at. And that was really because we wanted to make it affordable during this really, really difficult time for artists. I'm sure our viewers have experienced this as audience members too. A lot of concerts being canceled, a lot of artists just kind of losing every gig they have for the next at least few months. And some of our festival composers are in a similar situation. So we're really glad we were able to reduce tuition immediately for this year to make the festival experience possible for them.
And one of the things that changes about our needs just logistically is that in order for us to produce events like this and events that are going to be upcoming, as well as all of the rehearsals and all of the recording, it takes quite a lot more equipment, both sound and video equipment, in order to make that happen. And that's part of what we're raising money for tonight, between that and making the festival accessible in our 5-year tuition reduction initiatives.
Awesome. Well, I think we talked about a lot of the stuff that the festival is doing this year, and we talked about what we're doing in the future, and the amount that we've raised tonight is really indicative of the amount of support that we get from the people that believe in the festival. We also heard from some people tonight who clearly have participated in it and believe in it heavily too. So it's awesome to see. I'm a believer too. I'm on both sides of the coin, but it's awesome to see that even in this extraordinary time, for a lot of different reasons, that the arts are alive and well, that an organization like this can pivot into all of this excellent technology that's available to everybody and still produce something really great that people seem to be enjoying. So that's all the questions that I, and by proxy the audience, have for the two directors tonight. But I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for your time so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pete.
And thank you, the audience, for joining us this evening. We are so grateful for you helping us surpass our fundraising goals. I mean, this is more than 2 times what we initially thought this event was going to raise, and it's going to make such a difference. And we really, I'm running out of words to express my appreciation.
Me too.
it's just making it so possible to, one, adapt to the challenges of COVID-19, and also to further our initiatives down the line, including our live stream concert series and our tuition-free initiatives that are upcoming.
Absolutely. And we look forward to having you join us later this summer for our free live streamed concert series featuring the International Contemporary Ensemble. And again, we'll keep you updated about that on our Facebook page, on our e-newsletters, and also on our website. And lastly, I'd like to lead us all in a toast. Hopefully you have your effervescent beverage ready to go. We'd like to toast to our viewers' continued health during this time and to Connecticut Summerfest's 5th anniversary season. May we have many more musically uplifting years ahead of us. Thanks. Cheers.